makes sense. These were the t-shirts that was being sold to fundraise. And this project was brought about to fundraise for funds to go towards an organization to stop violence in Chicago. There was a while that it started out strong, good support and everything, and then, support slowed down. Still had, people's vocal support. But when I came up with this project, it was because of a painting that I did, this painting that I created, and it's kind of a distorted Chicago flag. And I'll put a link with the video where I break down everything, how I came up and how I came to be and everything. The reason I'm doing this today is because I know that I heard recently that Father Pfleger has, his program is being looked at a little bit more for gun buybacks and everything like that, and gun returns and everything. But let me tell you something. Chicago has been riddled with violence for a long time. It's now the murder capital. It's my home, where I'm from. And when I came up with this project, I reached out to numerous churches in the communities where tons of this violence was happening. Numerous churches with people that look like me. No response, weren't interested, so I was feeling discouraged at the time. And I said, I really want this painting housed somewhere where to be not just appreciated, but kids will have a different outlook on life, knowing that, they can make life their own canvas, and they can create what they want their life to be. And I was like, I want it to be somewhere where it can be seen for, forever, and someone would always look at it and it got the story behind it and everything like that. So I reached out to some more churches and, local communities that look like me. And the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of people, judge Father Pfleger. A lot of people have, said things about him because of the color of his skin. And being a person that, being a black man, it's like, anybody who has dealt with anything involving their color, their culture, or anything like that, how are we going to judge someone who's trying to help people, especially people that look like us, people in our community? It's kind of sad, that's real sad that people would judge him because of how he looks when he's doing an act. So at this time, I was feeling discouraged because no church would get back to me on working with this project. And so I was working with a client of mine, and guy needed, those who don't know, I do fitness, I'm a fitness specialist, personal trainer, master trainer. So I'm working with a client that was referred to me, and he's older now, but when he was younger, he was in the street kind of heavy. When I say the street, drugs, crime, violence or whatever. That's his lifestyle that came with what he lived in. And so the situation went down in his neighborhood, which was Inglewood at the time, where he was gonna kill a guy. And he told me, he said, man, I don't have any shame saying, when I saw this guy again, I was gonna kill him. He said, today I can tell you that I was gonna kill him and deal with whatever consequences was. So he said he sees the guy drive back around those neighborhoods. It's like 11 at night. So he's like, man, when I see him again, I'm gonna go in the house, get my gun, kill him. And so the guy comes back around again. So now he sees him, the guy slowing up, parking. So he's like, man, I'm running in the house, get my gun. He runs in the house, get his gun. He said when he ran outside, gun in hand, he's hearing, stop the violence, please stop the violence. He said he looked to his left. Who does he see marching down his street in Inglewood at 11:30 at night, leading the leading his black parishioners through this community that we know is riddled with violence, saying stop the violence. This guy put his gun in his waist, went back in the house. That moment right there led him to change his life. And he told me, he said, man, you know, that was like over 20 years ago. And he's like, and I felt like if this dude can walk through my neighborhood, you know, and have people follow him through my neighborhood to stop us from hurting each other, he's like, man, I can make a difference. I can change my life. So he changed his life. I took that as a sign that I needed to contact Father Pfleger, because I said, man, you know, he willing to put his life on the line like that, you know, for, you know, for a community that, you know, his church is in, you know, and for people that doesn't look like him. That's a human thing. You know, we get hung up on a lot of the color factor when it comes to so many things, but that's a human thing, you know, and that's God at the end of the day. You know, that's God. That's Christ-like. That's anyone who's came in the path of God, of greatness, that's what it is. That's the light of God in the man. You know, and people recognize that and they see that. And so they support it. So, real quick, long story short, I called, left a message, you know, that I wanted to talk to Father Pfleger. He called me back, I think maybe an hour and a half later. He called me back an hour and a half later, not his receptionist, not anyone else. You know, he wasn't too busy. You know, now we know this man travels. He travels around the city, he travels around the country, he travels around the globe, you know, but he called me back and he wanted to hear what I was talking about. So I told him, described to him that I wanted my painting to be housed somewhere where I knew it'd be appreciated, where kids could know they can make a difference through art. The world is their canvas. Blah, 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 blah. But like I said, I'll put the link to the video where I explain painting and everything, so you can check it out. But so talked, and he was like, sure, man. He's like, you know, we got a school, we can put it in a school. He's like, yeah, I would love that. It's great. You know, it's a beautiful thing. So after that, he was speaking at a few events, and Quan McDonald situation had came out, and I showed up to a lot of those events that he spoke at, and every time I got a chance to speak to him, same genuine man, same genuine kind-hearted spirit. And so it took a while to sell the painting, get the painting, raise the money for the painting. But I finally did, and the painting is at St. Sabina. This came in lieu of maybe 3 or 4 weeks to a month before, you know, the situation occurred with him where he had to step down for a minute. But you know, and I'm not trying to, you know, paint anybody wrong or anybody bad, and I don't like stepping on people to make other people look good, or myself look good. But just know that when you look outside, if your community isn't a reflection of what your home is, then you need to address that. And so when it comes to places where we go, where we worship and practice, it shouldn't be so many places where we worship and practice, but our community, we can't even hardly walk down the street. Something's wrong with that. And people, you got to start thinking there's something wrong with that. If you can't go outside, and it's not safe for you to sit on your porch, it's not safe for you to stand in front of your home and talk to somebody, but it's houses of worship everywhere in your community, something's wrong. Something's wrong. If it's not safe for children to play outside, something's wrong. And if you're going somewhere every week, 2-3 times a week, and you gotta keep your head spinning around and make sure you don't lose your life, something's wrong. So we gotta think, you know, we can't carry this great power, knowledge, and greatness of God within us and light within us and not do nothing with it. You know, can't hoard it to yourself. You gotta gotta share it. You gotta help others. You gotta look outside. And I get it. You know, like I said, you know, I'm from the south side of Chicago. You know, streets was, you know, rough in my time, younger days, but you know, wasn't as rough. When anybody tries to say it was, they lying. You know, so it was get me wrong, it was rough, you know, but it wasn't like this. It wasn't like this. So, and it's because there was still a strong sense of community. There was still a strong sense of looking out for people who are outside your door, looking out for your neighbor. Even the street looked out for the community. And those who know, who come from where we come from, know what I'm talking about. So when you can't move around in your quote unquote community, you know, it's like something's wrong. You know, and anybody who's standing somewhere in a position where they can do something about it and they don't, there's something wrong. And if you live in a neighborhood where you're putting your time, effort, signature, and vote to people that aren't doing anything to help your community, then there's something wrong. If you live in a neighborhood that you can't call a community, there's something wrong. You know? So those are just some pearls to look upon and realize that it doesn't make sense that you can barely walk outside. It doesn't make sense that the kids can't play outside yet. It doesn't make sense. You know, so talking about it is not going to do anything. Doing something about it is supposed to do something. You know, and I don't want to get to quoting any scriptures or anything because I'm going to stay on a human level with it. You know, but we all know, you know, what these books say about people in them and what they did to make a change. And if you're scared, then I don't know. I don't think you should be holding a book in your hand. I don't think you should go to that building either if you're scared, because, you know, it's not a world that you need to be scared. It's a world that you need to fight in. It's a world that you need to stand for something in. It's a world that you need to change something in. A lot of people came before us that fought for us to have the option to fight to make a change, you know, and every time we sit back and close our eyes and act like it's just going to go away just because we think about it, you know, we're not honoring anybody who came before us, whether they were black, white, Hispanic, Indian, whoever. It doesn't matter. We're not honoring the people who paved the way. If we close our eyes and we duck up in buildings and act like we don't see anything that's wrong, or when we see something wrong, we don't find a way to do it. You can either use your head, your heart, or your hand. Your head, your heart, or your hand. You can't fix it with your head. Try to fix it with your heart. You can't fix it that way. Use your hand. Try to help the situation, because ignoring it, you're part of the problem. You're not a part of the solution. And just blabbing about it and complaining about it doesn't change a thing. And a lot of people may say, you know, hey, Mark ain't what give you the authority. I don't have to speak about my authority. People know my authority of it because it's been my life, you know, dedication and service to humanity. So it's like, but one person can only do so much, but there's an army coming towards it. One person can make a difference and make a change. But if it's a million of us, that's all trying to make a change. It'll be a million times better. So let's try to change things with some type of action, and not just a whisper, not just a point your finger. Let's try to do something, you know. And it doesn't have to be known. You know, get out of the pride and the ego of things and trying to make everything so known. You know, just do it. You know, tell somebody else to do it, and then tell somebody else to do it, and then tell somebody else to do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just get out of that act of you need to be seen, and just do it. Stop hiding in these buildings. Wake up. Go outside. Stop hiding in these buildings. Use your head, your heart, or your hand. Try to do something. Build something. Find somebody a job. Make a job. Feed somebody. Clothe somebody. Do something. Just do something. But hiding in these buildings and then complaining about it when you in a community where, well, if you can even call it a community, when you in a neighborhood where everything is happening, come on, man. That